Welcome to Marketplace with Charles, where dreams are turned into reality. Marketplace is brought to you by Out of Skincare. Out of Skincare, the company that brings the beauty out of you, as well as Kuisa Lodge, situated at the heart of Mabalingwe Nature Reserve. If tranquility is what you're looking for, then Kuisa Lodge is the only place to be. We'll be happy to see you there, host you, because I know for sure you will never regret that you have chosen Kuisa Lodge. I am Charles Ngobeni. On Marketplace, we empower and equip you with tools that you need to achieve your entrepreneurial dreams. Each week, we bring you insight from experts in different fields of business, from men and women of faith. Today, we meet a musician, a poet, an artist, a creative strategist, an apologist. You can also see by his looks, the hairstyle, it says it all. Well, we live in a world that is characterized by a shortage of skills, not because skills do not exist, but that they are not being developed. The development of skills, giftings, and talents is Providence's own way of providing for the needs of mankind in this world. Yet these skills remain untapped, thus creating a situation of lack, zero distribution of wealth, high employment rate, and subsequent social ills. My guest today will shed some light on how we can best identify and maximize our God-given talents within us in order to become a meaningful contributors to these communities and society as a whole. Welcome. Welcome to Marketplace with Charles.
Thank you, Charles, for having me. Good day to all our viewers.
I understand you are welcome. And when I say welcome, I was referring to your name as welcome.
Yes, that is my first name, Welcome.
Levitical.
Correct.
So it's welcome, Levitical, welcome to Marketplace.
Thank you, same thing.
Well, welcome. You are known as the Farages Dreamer.
Yes.
Is there any particular reason for this?
Well, I love fashion. I've always loved fashion, and most of the time I always like wearing denim clothes. So that name came from me always wearing jeans. But the message I'm trying to say is that everyone wears jeans, so as we wear what is common, let us not forget to unpack our dreams. That is where I got the name Faded Jeans Dreamer.
That's awesome. But tell us how you started your career as an artist, developing further into a creative strategist and apologist.
Thank you for the question. It started as an early age. At the age of 5, I started playing around in the house. I was very creative. I was already dancing, and as time went on, as I moved up to high school, I realized that I could sing. I realized I could use instruments as well. From there, I started recording with my friends. We recorded an album. Thereafter, I needed to find a way I could tunnel everything into one perspective. So I started creating poetry movements. In 2010, I did a poetry movement where I brought in artists, and we did groom the artists and then would send them out. So that became my main vehicle, because sometimes you find that you're doing so many other things, but you rather have the one thing that gives you a stand-alone platform. So then poetry allowed me to start helping other artists at the same time, putting out my own content out and just helping people. As time goes on, I became a prominent poet. I started featuring so many shows like the Poet in Autumn Tour, which is the biggest poetry show in South Africa. So I became a part of that movement as well. But then as time went on, I realized that it was not enough to just do poetry. I found myself being able to create a book, became an author, and as well I started to find myself able to work with different artists. And because of the pressure of what the artists were bringing to me, I had to find a way of creating strategies for them, helping them to win in whatever facet of life they were going through.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes.
Doing all those things. And if I look into what you're doing,
Correct.
how does your day look like?
My day is a lot of research. We do a lot of research. So we find out, because particularly I deal with a lot of millennials. So what I do, we do a lot of research to find out what the new trends are. We find out what is trending and why it is trending. So we then go back to create content that is relevant to our target audience. So we do a lot of research, and we also do meetings where we actually sit down with artists and sit down with different artists and trying to help them in their journey, because most of them don't have the know-how. They just have the skill. So they've got the basic skill. They know maybe how to do poetry or how to sing, but they don't know how they need sort of like a coach that helps them realize their dreams. So we do a lot of research, and we do a lot of appointments as well with the different artists, and we just help them sort of move from A to B, because most of them are just at A. They don't know what to do. So we come in there, we help the artist and make sure that they're actually going somewhere. They're not just stagnant at one place.
Look, two things about the artists that I don't like.
Yeah.
I must be honest. Number one, they die poor. And whenever they die, now we have to collect money to bury them.
Correct.
Even big names here in South Africa, whenever they died, we had to collect money to bury them. Number two, most of the artists, they are known for only one song or one book.
Correct.
Or one thing. You hardly find Mahlathini and Mahotela Queens. You have got so many albums.
Correct.
You hardly find Lady Smith, Black Mambazo,
Correct.
who have got so many albums and they're doing so well.
Yes.
You know, you hardly find Brenda Fassie, who have got so many. It's a handful.
Correct.
Most of them, they're known for only one song. The rest of their lives, they may record 4, 5, 6 albums, but it's only one which is selling.
Correct.
And the rest is a flop. Why is it like that? I need you to tell me, why is it that they die poor? And what is it that we can do to assist the artist so that they make money? You know,
Yes.
to be frank with you, if my son or daughter say, no, I want to be an artist, I'll say, it's okay, just to fulfill a dream.
Correct.
But get something else which will bring a bacon on the table.
Correct. Thank you for that question. I think most artists, in the end of the day, is that they are stuck to one formula where you have to create the one song or the one product that people love, and thereafter they no longer put enough effort to push themselves beyond their talent, because you realize that inside it, of every individual, there's a lot of gold, there's a lot of depth within them. But sometimes we just want to create surface products, or we want to create surface songs that will pull us through our eternity. But we need, as artists, what I recommend is that they begin to dig deep and find what else is still lying on the inside of them, because most of them then, their life might be short-lived or might be long-lived. They find that when they, like you were saying, when they die, they've died poor because they were relying on one avenue. I know the music industry is very tough, but I think that you need to be multifaceted. You need to think outside the scope of what you can bring to the market. You almost need to be a strategist. You need to be very strategic about what you want to do and what you're putting out. I think that is what limits our musicians, is that we only think that if I do the one song and the one song does well, then that's the end of my career. Whereas that there's so many other things that you can bring in that help facilitate your dream, because the dream is not based on one item. Your dream is almost like a tree that has got branches.
Yes.
You got to branch out because the dream came from the roots. But as the dream grows up, you need to spread yourself. You need to spread your influence, so that end of the day, that when you are gone, people don't remember the roots, but they remember the branches.
Wow. You are dealing with millenniums.
Correct.
Is there any particular reasons why you deal with millenniums?
I love millenniums because I'm part of them. I love them because they're a subculture that has been forgotten. Because you realize that we have a generational, what I call a generational gap, or that creates a generational tension. So if you have kids in the home between the dad and the mom and the kids, there's that tension because we understand things differently. Our music is different, our dressing, everything is different. We've got a code. It's almost like we've got a language that we express that is different to the other generations. And sometimes because it's different, we find that even when Paul was speaking to Timothy, he was saying to him in the Bible that do not let people despise because you are young.
You're young, yes.
So the reason I have my target audience specifically and the love I have for them is that they've been disregarded as the new millennials, as if they're ignorant, but there's so much potential that they carry that if we can, as a society, begin to take them in and listen to their problems. And that's why I find that there's a lot of depression, a lot of mental health issues, and that segment of the mental health has now been streamlined to millennials. Back in the day, you'd find that the older people were dying, but now the statistics are showing that gap, that the people that are dying are actually millennials. So if we don't rise up to give them tools or to realize that they have a part to play, then we've lost the plot. So that's why I enjoy working with them. I enjoy trying to help them so that they can realize who they are, because purpose comes before anything. Purpose precedes identity.
Yes.
So if we can help them realize who they are before they can express more of who they are, we'll be able to make a change in the world.
Will I be correct to insinuate that you do not believe in unemployment as a scourge, that so much sweat should be shed over?
Correct. I believe that everything that we need to do life is already here. All the resources that we need for the next development plan are already here. All the resources are here. We need to realize that when we shouldn't wait for outside people or wait for, we acknowledge what the government is doing for the people, provide the infrastructure and doing the necessary basic things, but you cannot rest upon government bodies and upon corporations to provide your personal needs and your personal development. Personal development it's a personal thing. So I believe that you need to find whatever skills that you have and begin to maximize those kind of skills, because if we wait, we cannot have a handout mentality where everything is handed out to us. And most of the time you find people that enjoy receiving become useless in a society because they become spoiled. They don't have that drive to go and start something. They don't have the drive to innovate, to create something, because employment can be created. And I believe that if we create value, the jobs will come from the value that we create. If we create value systems, that's where the jobs will come from. So therefore, if we can work hard in creating the value for the whole society, for the whole fraternity, end of the day, we will have enough employment, because you realize there's a lot of students that are coming out of university and they have to go back home and wait 3-4 years before they can get a job. Whereas if you already have some form of education, you can actually tunnel that, you can activate that for something that can give you money, something that can give you purpose in life. So I think we also need to find that we need to promote purpose and make sure that once we promote purpose and we create value, we can actually get rid of or alleviate unemployment.
Awesome. In responding to one of Judas' statements, Jesus said that we have the poor always with us. I think that is Matthew 26, verses 11. How do you explain that statement?
Jesus was one of the greatest creative leaders And if you do study the Bible, you'll realize that a third of his ministry was talking about wealth and finances. And in that, he's trying to say to the society that was then that poverty is actually a mentality.
Yeah.
So is wealth is a mentality.
Yeah, awesome.
We think that being poor is just a state of not having money in your bank account. But the poverty is actually the lack of ideas that can generate wealth. So we need to begin to look at...
So you are as rich as as creative you are.
Correct. You need to take the risk and put your ideas out, whether they work or they don't work. If they don't work, it means that your plan was not sound enough. So you need to go back to the drawing board and see what you can do to improve yourself. But most people, they give up because there's a thing called temporary defeat. Once you try something, it doesn't work, you go back to your closet and you no longer want to try. But you need to realize that you need to keep you need to keep pushing, because the things that you want will not come onto your lap. You need to go out, you need to strategize, re-strategize your plan, see where there are gaps in the market, and see where you can be influential, because people pay for influence. Clients will pay you for bringing value to the marketplace. So I believe that Jesus was trying to say that if you can change your thinking, you can change your state of affairs. And your state of affairs will either lean towards poverty or towards wealth.
But what do you think our young people today should do to change the depressing situation around them?
The situation is very dire. If you look at, I started with my research every time there's a lot of scourges that are happening, there's a lot of chaos that's happening, especially now in the age that we live in with mental health and depression, where latest statistics came out saying that 60 people are killing themselves a day, and those are just men, and it's not even the women. So they're not even talking about the failed attempts. They're talking just about the people that have succeeded, and that's 60 people a day. And the situation around us is very depressing if you look at what's happening. But what I could say to the youth is that I think we need to go back to the Creator. And the Creator has already given us creativity. He has skilled us. He's given us things, like I always like to say, that everything that you need is right down at the end of your hand. You have everything that you need to do. You need to begin to maximize your potential, because everyone has been endowed with talents and gifts. And sometimes what happens with young people, they are not given a chance, or they are looked down upon by society is to say their skills are not relevant. Because if you look at where we are right now, back in the day, there are certain jobs that used to be there that are no longer existent because of the modern times. So now you find that new jobs like social media managers that now exist because of the movement of young people. So what I would like to say to them is that they need to maximize their potential, find a way to win no matter how dire the situation is. There is hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel. That is why I love working with creatives, giving them a sense of hope, because what they have lost is actually they've lost hope. They've lost the reason to try again. They've lost that mandate, whereas you have been given a mandate to create jobs, to create value, to create influence around you.
What would you say are the enemies of this creativity that we're talking about?
Well, I have identified 12 enemies, but the one that I will speak about, I think one of the greatest enemies is yourself. When you grow up, most of the time is by the time you're 6 or 7, your character is already your character is done, because your parents and your uncles and people around in the home, they begin to tell you who you are. And if those that you were told are self-defeating thoughts, you grow up with that mentality and you begin to replicate things that you saw in your house, or the dysfunction, because I think we all come from a place of dysfunction, no matter there is no perfect homes, So there's a dysfunction that begins that begins to tag along with your life. The time you become a adolescent and you become a teenager, those things follow you, but you need to like rewire the way you need to rewire your thinking, you need to rewire who they told you were. So if you do not change or you're not confident about who you are, what's going to happen is that even if you get opportunities, you're not going to maximize opportunities. You're not going to see the benefit of a bursary. You're not going to see the benefit of any opportunity that comes because you're already self-defeated in your mind. That's why you find you need the greatest investment you can make is in yourself. The greatest investment is investing in capital and in what I call knowing your environment and knowing how you can best market yourself. So I believe that you need to then reinvent yourself and forget about the self-defeating thoughts that might have birthed who you are. There's such a greater purpose to your life.
Mm-hmm. In your book,
yes,
you talk about source creativity.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
That was a very clever line that I used because the word source is got two meanings. You've got sauce, which is like tomato sauce or mustard sauce. Mm-hmm. Then you've got source as a resource. So the book is saying that to everyone, this is a tool, this is a manual that can help you. Then it's also saying directly to the millennials that, you know what, because we're such a hip generation, we always say when something is good, we say it's got juice, we say it's got sauce. So we're saying while you're having the sauce, why don't you use that to develop yourself, to empower yourself so that when you make it, you can say to the world, I've got the sauce. I've got what it takes. You're proving yourself to everyone around you. You're not just a misfit. You're not a social misfit, but you're actually relevant to your society because these gifts and talents that you've been given have been given for a purpose. You've been set here for a purpose to serve people, to help people. So that's where the source comes. It's a very clever, dimensional phrasing that I use there.
Mm-hmm. You also talk of a box of stitches and wishes.
Yes. Yeah, so I always come with these creative elements and the way they address all my creative ideas. And there's a box that I call a stitches and wishes. And stitches really are talking about the things that we are suffering, the things we will suffer unless we change. I'm talking the stitches refer to society's ills, the things that we sometimes forget about, things that we see like gender-based violence. Those are stitches. Those are things that are very painful. You know, if you've had an operation, when they stitch you up, it takes a while before you can come back to a position where you're actually fine. So I'm talking about this box has got stitches. Then also it's got wishes. There are things, there are dreams that you want to accomplish. There are things that you want to do. So I'm talking about that. In this dream, you have, in this box, you need to be able to, once you've gone through and you've realized the society ills, you still also need to reach out for your dreams because your dreams are actually the answer to the after effects of the stitches.
Look, there's someone out there
yes.
watching the show, and this young boy wants to commit suicide. Do you want to inspire them and tell them that life is sweeter than suicide?
Thank you for that, Charles. I think the research that they did now found that most people commit suicide because they give up on life. They don't see a strategy, and this has been affecting men so much that they realize around them that things are not working. When things are not working, it's like one thing is not working, the second thing is not working, the third thing is not working. Those things begin to pile up and they cause a mental state where you feel like it's that's the end. You feel like you cannot take anymore. But you need to realize that it's actually a lie. It's a lie because your life, like I like to say, that your future is not in front of you. Your future is still trapped in you. So you need to be able to draw out the future that you want. Most people say that the best way to predict the future is actually to create it. So if we give up and we commit suicide, that means we are short-circuiting our purpose, our creative ability, whereas we could have just hang on until we find there's always different ways to win around life. It's not a one short formula. It doesn't mean something worked for someone, it might not work for you, but you need to hang in there, because it's such a tragedy if you went to the grave and you never released that CD, you never wrote that book, you never opened that business, because at the end of your obedience are people waiting for you. So what I realized, you need to go out there and be the best that you can. I know things might be tough for you, but you need to hang in there, because the best is yet to come.
Tell me, if someone wants your book or they want to speak to you, how do they get hold of Welcome Levitical?
Thank you for that, Charles. You can contact me on my business line. My business line is 072-336-7246. Otherwise, I'm also available on all my social media. So on social media, it's just Welcome Levitical. On Facebook, then on Twitter, it's WLevitical. Then on Instagram, it's wellylevy@gmail.com. Be able to find me on all my social handles. Otherwise, you can contact us directly on our business line.
You can get all of me on Instagram, Charles_Ngobeni, website, charlesngobeni.com. You can go and watch these on YouTube over and over again. Well, see you next time, same place. God bless you.
The Power of Women Academy is a group mentoring program for high-impact women. Women who want to change their lives and their worlds and move on to the next level. Power of Women Academy is aimed and tailored at unleashing the passion and greatness locked inside you as a woman as you walk the journey of life over the mentorship period with our team of distinguished and well-accomplished mentors from all walks of life. Our mentors are indeed destiny helpers. These mentors come to inspire you. They come to encourage you, to challenge you, to teach you, to stretch you, and to empower you. They are committed to helping you fulfill your highest potential and help you birth your wildest dreams that have been placed in you by God. For more information about the Power of Women Academy, please visit www.powacademy.co.za, or for inquiries, call 064 200 1545.